Hello, Mr. Limaye. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us today. Good evening to all our attendees and welcome to the Aesthetic Medicine Digital Series. Uh, Once again, Mr. Harshal Limaye has joined us from New Jersey, and today he will be focusing on how to find new patients for your practice, the patient journey. So, May is special for us as Aesthetic Medicine India celebrates its anniversary month. We are persistently working towards planning and organizing sessions that could help the aesthetics community grow its business and make the AM Digital Series a truly knowledge sharing platform. If you have missed any of our past webinars, please do log on to our website, aestheticmed.in. You would find all the recorded sessions right there on our homepage. And if you have any suggestions that you would like to share with us on what topics work, what more you want to hear from us, please feel free to write in to me. I would leave my email ID in the chat box for you shortly. Also, for all our attendees, for any questions that you may have for our expert for today, please key them into the Q&A box. You would see a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Please key them into the Q&A box and Harshal would take them up at the end of the discussion. Thank you. And before I let Harshal take over, a few words about him. Mr. Harshal Limaye is the founder and CEO of Mktg.Doctor, an all-in-one practice growth platform that leverages 360-degree digital marketing strategies to acquire new patients, re-engage existing patients, improve patients' online experience, streamline the front desk, and justify marketing spend. He's a certified aesthetic consultant from the Aesthetic Academy USA. Thank you once again for joining us, and over to you, Roya.
Thanks, Shreya. So hello, everyone. I'm just going to first share my screen. Just give me a moment. One second. All right, there you go. All right, thanks everyone for joining. And today's topic is how to find patients or how to find new patients for your practice. And today we'll cover the 6 topics. We'll look at the patient journey. So it's really how the patient before this person becomes your patient, right? What is the journey that this person goes through? We'll look at cross-channel marketing. We'll look at marketing frameworks. We'll look at the essential marketing assets. Then we'll look at the patient funnel, and lastly, we'll focus on some patient acquisition strategies during this COVID-19 crisis. Let's begin first. I mean, there's a little picture which kind of shows a person standing at the corner of a building, and every medical practice wants new patients, and finding new patients is not an easy task, as you all know, right? I mean, just standing quietly on the corner of a street, I mean, everyone knows that doesn't work. So you obviously need marketing. But the fact is, neither can you just shout out loud from the corner of your street. So essentially, finding new patients is not easy, right? As you know. So how do you tackle this question? So let's look at this. I mean, I think what I want you to know is I want you to stop thinking about how to find new patients, because that will not take you anywhere. So let's reverse the question. And let's focus on how do patients find doctors today. So today, long gone are those days when people would call up professional advisors like their lawyers or doctors or accountants for information, right? I mean, today, in this world of internet, the internet has become the primary source of information. for most of us, right? And more so in the healthcare space with the growth of web portals such as WebMD and others. So your patients are doing the same. I mean, they are again searching on Google, they are searching on YouTube, they're trying to read articles, they're trying to read up, and they're kind of everyone that you talk to today, you'll see that they are already informed. I mean, they may not be correctly informed, but they are informed, right? They come to you with some information. The other thing is, they are also looking at reviews. They are trying to figure out what people are saying about you. And as you've seen, a lot of times the patients base their choice of the doctor more on how their website is ranking and how their social media presence is, and that's kind of a little sad. But they kind of weigh that over the doctor's education, skills, and experience. But that is the reality. And people are associating the quality of service that you provide and the outcomes that you will get based on how you look on Google and other social media platforms. So having said that, what that means is, if you want to find new patients, you have to be where your patients are. You have to give patients other things, such as some conveniences, such as booking online, rescheduling of their appointments online. Yeah, everybody has a busy life. They want to kind of minimize their wait times. And that's where it comes to, right? I mean, the whole digital experience that you provide to your patients goes a very long way in terms of acquiring these new patients. And as I always say, the word of mouth has gone digital. So as a doctor, you need to go digital. So that is the key here, right? I mean, how do you need, again, what I'm trying to focus here on is, if you are trying to find new patients, what we call technically is, it's not more of an outbound marketing, it's more of an inbound marketing, where the patients are searching on Google and they find your website and they come and visit your website, they look you up, they look your reviews, and that is how they get interested in it. So let's jump into um, how does the patient journey look like, right? So in this patient journey, when you're looking at this patient journey at the picture in front of you, you will see that there are 5 different stages, and let's talk about each of them. So the first stage is, as we call, as awareness. And this is the phase where the patient, there's a phase where you're trying to make the patient create the awareness about the services that you're providing in the markets that you are operating. Branding comes into play at this stage, right? I mean, obviously, there are some traditional ways that you're already going about it. You're putting up your billboards or your sign on your clinic. You might be doing some kind of PR activities. But at the same time, I mean, again, doing branding on digital channels is how you are going to make them aware that you exist, and these are the services that you provide, and this is how you're different. And that's the first stage. The second stage that the patient journey is interest. So this is where you get them interested in what you're providing, right? I mean, um, you basically tell them what you do the best, and how you are different from maybe the other players around. What is your specialty? And that is how they're going to get interested in you. And then this keeps going on, right? I mean, the patients then go into the desire phase, where now they are going to they need some service, and they're going to start reaching out to you, pick up the phone or go to your website, fill out a form, do a web chat with you. There's so many channels today, right? Send you a WhatsApp, maybe send you a DM on social media. And that is where they're making this first touch with you. Now, remember that this patient that is coming to you in the first touch is already somewhat informed, because they're already researching about what they want to do. And that's the world we are in, right? So again, when you are responding to these patients, you got to really respond with something valuable and something that answers their questions directly. A lot of times I've seen, a lot of my clients, previously what they were doing is they were having this live web chat on their websites, which would just kind of go into some kind of a call center. And these guys are really not specialists in terms of answering any questions. They are just there to take the name and number and phone number, and that basically just does not work, because at that point, it's too late that you are getting back to the leads that you're getting in, and they just lost interest in you. So that is something that I've seen in many practices that I advise. So you got to be careful. I mean, if you have a web chat, you make sure that you are able to operate that at the back end with your staff who is knowledgeable about your services and able to answer those questions. The next stage is, yes, I mean, they are aware of you, they are interested in what you do or what you provide, they have a desire to get that service from you, and now they're ready to take that action. And that action could be like maybe they're booking an appointment with you so that they can come in to the clinic, or they might just book in a virtual consultation with you, or whatever that might be, right? So that is the action stage. And the last stage is really, after they have taken that action, how do you follow up with them? How do you provide them the correct information that they need? And many a times I've seen doctors telling me that patients come to them saying they want this, but really after some consultations, it just so happens that they really need some other procedure than what they actually initially came in for. So again, as I said, the internet is a wild world there, and there's a lot of information. Not necessarily it is the correct information, and you are their advisor to give them the proper advice that they need for their health. So this is how the patient journey works, right? So now let's look into how do you tap into these patients at every stage of their journey. And to do that, you have to look at what I call as a 360-degree marketing approach. And what that really means is you have to leverage multiple channels, because if you look at the journey, I mean, today people are just bouncing off from searching on Google, finding your website. Yeah, they go to your website, then they are on Facebook. They're trying to look at some social proof from other people. They're trying to look at some reviews. They're trying to jump back and forth between these different stages, really, from from awareness, interest, desire, action, and they're doing this on various channels. So yes, website is the most important thing, because so the first and foremost is, yes, you need to have a website. That's your digital gateway to your brand. But you should also create a Facebook page. You should also create an Instagram page or Twitter if that's where audience is, and definitely, if you can, make some videos, because videos are a great storytelling or branding medium, where you can really, they want to see their doctor, they want to see their doctor talk, they want to see the results or the outcomes the doctor has achieved in different patients. They want the patients to talk about the doctor. So all this is very important. So again, a multi-channel approach is important. I mean, look at the way the traffic is coming into your website, right? It's not just one is that people are directly going to your website. They type in the URL when they know you. But many times when you're just starting out, you have a very few visits to your website, and you have to really work on other different channels like search. You may have to think about running some ads to get those visits. You should also look at email or SMS. There are different channels. This picture in the next slide kind of explains that a little bit more in more detail. What you see here is basically engagement with the patient is very critical, right? And when I say engaging with the people, with your prospective patients on all screens, on all kinds of channels, and all the time, really, right? Because that's where they are. So this is the approach that is important. If you just focus on one channel, it is going to be very, very difficult and challenging for you to acquire patients. I mean, I've talked to some other clients who were only running PPC ads, Google ads, basically pay-per-click. And what happens there is, I mean, yes, you get the clicks, but the amount of time the people are spending on your page is very, very little from those ads. And that's where, you need to kind of use these different channels and complement each other, to get that traffic, to get that awareness, to get that, uh, you know, to get that traffic and awareness for your website. So that is the 360-degree marketing approach. Now, all this is very daunting, as you can see, right? I mean, you're talking, if you go back to this slide, you're talking about how do I do all this, right? I mean, there's a website and SEO and content marketing and different kinds of ads and social media, YouTube channel. It's a very daunting task, right? And many times you may be wondering, where do I begin? Or, how do I start with all this? So let's talk about how we can simplify this, right? And if you use a framework, it is definitely going to help you organize your marketing plan and simplify this process. There are many frameworks that are available. This one that you see in front of you is one of my favorites, and let me talk about this in more detail now. So what you can see here is there are like a bunch of circles and bunch of questions, really, but what you want to look at is there are 3 circles in the center, which I consider as your core strategy. And the 3 circles on the outside are your marketing tactics. So let's dive into the strategy circles and let's discuss what they are. So there are really 3 different questions that you want to ask when you're trying to put together your marketing strategy. And when I say strategy, you are really looking at a longer horizon. You're looking at 2 years or 2 to 5 years of your plan, right? In terms of your practice. And that is really what is strategy. 3 questions become very important. The first one obviously is who. So who really refers to here is who are your patients. So if let's say you are practicing in Mumbai, I mean, there are so many people in Mumbai, and there are so many doctors as well. You need to really identify who are your patients. You need to understand that you need to segment your patients, because again, if you say that everyone in Mumbai is my patient, then you're basically marketing to everyone and you're marketing to no one. It's just too much of a scale, right? I mean, just think, for example, if you are trying to run ads and if you target the whole of Mumbai, I mean, you're just not going to get that traction because there are too many people that you're reaching out to. So you need to think about what are the services that you're offering? What is the market that you're operating in, the neighborhoods? You need to think about for whatever service you're offering, where do you think people will, how much do you think people will travel? And just to give some examples, I mean, I think this is a aesthetic medicine webinar. I'm assuming that there are a lot of dermatologists or trichologists or cosmetologists, maybe some plastic surgeons. So again, think about the services that you're offering. If you're a plastic surgeon and if you're doing some, you're really an expert on certain surgeries like maybe rhinoplasty or facelift, I think people are going to travel because that's a major surgery and people are willing to travel. But let's say if you're doing some other kind of service like procedures, and maybe there some of them are non-invasive or even minimally invasive or Botox and fillers and those kind of things, people are not going to travel much. They're going to look for a doctor which is close to them. So these are the factors that play into this when you try to decide who are your patients. So having talked about who, the next question is what, and that what really again refers to what products and services are you providing as a medical practitioner. Um, Generally speaking, you will be providing a broad range of services, but you should also think about narrowing it down and trying to figure out what do you do the best. What is your specialty, because that is going to make you stand out. And plus, you will enjoy doing what you do best, and in general, that just kind of creates a win-win for everyone. So what is really, really need to look at the services that you're providing, the market demand that is there in your area, and how do you match it up, and how do you create that set of services for your clinic. And then the last point is, again, as we are talking about strategy here, the last point is why. So why are you doing this, right? I mean, that is important. What are your objectives? What are your objectives in the next 1 year, 2 years, next 5 years? This is very important to set right at the beginning when you're looking at this. It also depends on where you are as a business or as a practice. If you're just starting out, or maybe you are very well established, and maybe you want to grow, you want to start multiple clinics, or you're already a big one, then you want to look at how you want to sustain and grow beyond that. So it all depends on where you are in your business cycle or where your practice cycle is. So these are the strategy. Having talked about the strategy questions in the framework, let's talk about the tactics. Now, when I say tactics here, again, these are shorter term. So they are three months, 6 months, or 12 months. And again, there are 3 questions here. The first one is how. So how refers to what is your marketing message to the patients that you want to attract, right? When is, again, remember that patient journey that we talked about. So when really refers to every stage of that patient journey. I mean, you got to really tune your marketing message depending on what stage of the journey you are trying to target for that patient. Are you making them aware? Are they interested in you? Are they showing a desire to get some service from you? Have they already taken an action in terms of booking a consultation with you, etc., right? And again, and lastly, where is the right mix of channels? This again comes back to you should obviously use multiple channels, and you should really mix them up well. Talking about the situation that we are into now, this tactics will have to change for you, right? Because these times are different. I mean, again, why I've divided into strategy and tactics is your strategy doesn't change because that's a longer term and you do what you do. But in terms of your tactics, you do need to revisit them during this period. I mean, think about all these lockdowns. We are in phase 3 in India. Rest of the world, again, there are various extent. There's lockdown. Some people are reopening slowly. You got to think in terms of your patient, right? What are the patients ready to do now? Are they willing to go into surgeries now, right away? I mean, again, if it's aesthetic industry, we're talking about everything elective. So maybe they're not. Maybe they're not ready for surgeries right away, right? So now you need to figure out your tactics in terms of what are the services that you want to focus on more. If you have some retail kind of a revenue in your practice, maybe you could focus on that. And these are the adjustments that you definitely need to make while you are looking at marketing. All right, so that takes us through this framework. I mean, if you there's six simple questions, and if you really try to think about these questions in their context and answer them for your practice, I am very confident that you will have a very solid marketing strategy. This framework works. I mean, I've implemented this framework for multiple of my clients, and it has always worked. So next, let's just go through certain assets that you need to focus on. And I call them as assets because they're really an investment that you're making in terms of marketing for your clinic. So these are really the four major assets. Again, website is at the top. If you have a website, if you don't have a website, I mean, definitely you need to get on a website. If you have a website, take a look at it. See if you need to change anything on the website. I mean, again, there are five must-have pages for every website. There is a about page, there is a location page, there's a people page, there's services page, and there's testimonials page. I mean, about page, you know about your practice, the changes that you're doing in your practice, not necessarily your patients or your prospective patients know about it, right? So it's very important that this is the page where you talk about your specialties, your services, and why you are different, right? It's like a little, if you look at a book, it's like that little cover at the back, which tells you what is this book about. And that's what this about page is. Locations, yes, you need to publicize what locations you have in your clinic. If you have one clinic, if you have multiple clinics. Again, remember, as I said, depending on the services that people that you're offering, and depending on the services that people are willing to take at this time, the location becomes pretty critical. They need to think how much they need to travel. People page, again, is about the doctors and the staff. I mean, they need people today, right? Patients today, right? They need to take a look at how they they need to take a look at their doctor, to familiarize themselves with the doctor, the staff, how caring they are, what patient-centric you might be. So people page is important. Services page, again, if you're making any changes to the services during this period, you need to go and update that. And testimonials, always important, right? Social proof. So that's essential asset number one. And then there's Facebook and Instagram page. Again, this is social media. There are some clients that I work with, which they get like about 20 to 30% of their revenues from social media. It's become a very major channel and an asset that you're building, really, right? And these things take time to build, and that's why I call them as assets. I mean, you cannot just you cannot just go and buy any followers on Facebook and Instagram, because that doesn't work. You have to all these assets basically have organic growth, and it does take time. So you need to really start early, and if you have the time now, this is the time to really spend on building these assets further. The next one is YouTube. You already know about that. And the last one, very important, is email list. Again, this is really, you basically are collecting emails of patients while giving them something in return, right? So maybe you are driving them to your website, and they fill in their email, and they maybe download some brochure or some information or some technique that you do for some of your services in return. And again, growing your email list organically, very important. I mean, if you can buy email lists, but that's like cold calling, right? It just doesn't work. So that's about the assets. Next, let's talk about the funnel. So, let's just recap what we covered so far. I mean, we talked about how you should look at how patients are finding doctors today, and not how you want to find patients, because you're focusing on how patients are looking for doctors. They're searching for you, or the multi-channel approach, using the strategy and the framework that I just described, and creating your assets or building up your assets. This is what is this doing for you, is it's just getting you a lot of visitors, right? I mean, people are just visiting your website, they're visiting your Facebook page. The important thing, the next step here, is how do you convert those visitors into patients? And to do that, we have used some products for our clients. So the next slide that you see is what we have done here. Is we have created a lot of interactive forms. What this does is, when people are visiting either your website or Facebook page or wherever it is, we take them through a set of questionnaires, which obviously we have customized that for our clients, for our medical clinics that we work with, and that qualifies these leads. Number one is it qualifies these leads, and number two is, if they take all that time filling out these questionnaires, that means they're serious about it, right? And you kind of cut the noise, and that is kind of very important as well in this period, because I mean, the first question that I'm sure, the first question that everyone asks you when they call you is, how much does it cost? And then that's it, right? Nothing happens after that. And that's where that noise is there, right? There's a lot of noise. People are just kind of looking at things and just trying to shop around and find some price and costing, and just doesn't work like that. So just an example, we've implemented some of these forms at some of our clients, and this is an example of a plastic surgeon that we work with. This is a form where we have, is rhinoplasty for you? And then we make them answer some questions like, okay, what are you unhappy about your nose, the shape or size? We also allow them to upload some pictures, and this whole process kind of qualifies them and gives them results. And we have seen this is one of the most popular form in India. I mean, in India, I think rhinoplasty. I think the topmost procedure that people are looking for or seeking is hair transplant. That's the topmost in India. Second after that is rhinoplasty. Other countries are different. I think in the US, hair transplant is there, obviously, but I think breast augmentation in terms of the plastic surgery is there. There's a lot of Botox and fillers demand in the US. I'm sure it's kind of growing in India as well. So again, finding out this right procedure and building these forms goes really long way in qualifying these leads. There's some examples here of the forms that we have created. They're completely customizable. I mean, so for example, here, set yourself back 10 to 15 years in appearance. Yes, I'm interested. I can fill out the name. I'll just show you quickly what it looks like. We just have some kind of information, how that whole thing is going to work for them. Then we just say, are you a male or female, etc., etc. What's your age? And then we go on, and then we just say, okay, now what are your concerns here? So they can just click on these things, and so on and so forth, right? In the end, we basically get their number, or we also ask them, are they in what stage are they, right? Are they immediately looking to do this? Are they still thinking about it? They need more information to make the decision. So depending on that, we kind of automate that process at the back end. Either we send them some brochure, or if they're immediately thinking of doing this, we can send them a link where they can book a consultation with the doctor. So that's just some example. And this is how you basically create, build your contact list, right? You build your email list, you build your WhatsApp numbers, so you can basically reach out to them. So that's that. And here's another example of how to create that funnel. I mean, so people are coming to your website. If you do not have a clear call to action for them, it is difficult to kind of funnel them and convert them into patients, right? If you look, for example, if you have a web chat and they try to chat with you, but it's going to some kind of a call center, and those people are not knowledgeable enough to answer those questions, then it just kind of dies down there. So this is one example where we have put this online appointment booking for our clients. This particular one is in the US. They have multiple locations. So patients can basically go in here and select the location, select the time, and book the appointment. The last one here is, I think, a dentist in New Jersey. But so these are the things, right? The conveniences that you are providing to your patients. They can book this appointment in the middle of the night or late at night. They don't have to wait for your clinic to be open to call you. And that is really that experience, the digital experience that you're giving them. It just kind of also reflects on how how it just kind of reflects that that the service that you're providing is very professional, and it just kind of reflects, all these things reflect on you. So these are the funnel ideas. How do you funnel patients in? And that takes us to the last slide. Just some ideas here in terms of what you could do during this period for patient acquisition. So number one is think about the services. I mean, you may want to pivot your products and services as needed during this period. If you have any retail revenue, think about putting it online so that your patients can buy those products online. Focus on, again, as I said, something, maybe start with non-invasive, minimally invasive procedures, look at telemedicine, virtual consultations. In fact, maybe you should insist that the first consultation should be virtual. That way, you're not getting that traffic into the clinic as you get ready to open up in India, starting 18th, I guess, right? And that's important, right? I mean, these are the things that you could use. These are some of the ideas that you could use to get those new patients in. The other thing is patients, they need that extra assurance from you. Everyone has that fear today with this COVID, right? And you need to explain to them what measures your office and your staff is taking, in terms of deep cleaning, maybe, or disinfecting your clinic. Educate them on the extra precautions that are needed during this period. And we're not going to be out of it soon. I mean, we are reopening, obviously, but I think that fear is going to continue through this year, definitely until any kind of vaccine comes out. So these things are important to attract these patients to your clinic. Space out, if you have any in-clinic appointments, do space them out so you can allow for extra time for people to come in and come out and they feel safe coming to your clinic. And add this personal touch. I mean, people, this crisis has affected people at multiple levels. So talking to them, adding that personal touch is always going to be helpful. And that is really it for today. Shreya, maybe I wanted to keep a lot of time for Q&As. So if there are any Q&As, I can take them now.
Yes, there are some questions in the Q&A box. You could just go by that order. So we have a question on how to make best use of Facebook.
Sure. So again, this question is pretty broad. If you do not have a Facebook, I mean, depends on where you are in terms of your social media marketing. The best views of Facebook in general, or in general any social media, is do not sell anything on social media. These are not the platforms to sell anything. These are the platforms to connect with people. You want to connect with them. I mean, ask them questions, right? I mean, they're sitting at home for the last 2 months. Don't just put your service as a post, right? Ask them what is the first thing that they would want to do once this lockdown is lifted. I mean, there could be some interesting things like that. Hey, I'll go and get a haircut. I'll go for shopping. There's so many things at the personal level that people want to do once we reopen. So what I'm really trying to say is, connect with those people. These are treat them as persons, talk to them as persons, connect with them. That's very important. Attract these comments, attract the shares, um, run some contests on Facebook. So if you have some kind of a new procedure or technique that has come, or maybe a new kind of filler that has come in the market that you use, maybe you could ask them questions about that, whether what they know about it, and attract those comments in there. And that's how you would try to use Facebook uh, at the best.
I think we also have a question on how to promote your business Facebook page in new starters.
As a new practice, you said, what was the last part?
You've mentioned in new starters, but I think what they mean is new practice. It's a question from Ashutosh Soni.
Okay, so how to promote your Facebook page? I
Business
mean,
page.
business, yeah, Facebook business page. I mean, yeah, you should first have a business page, obviously. As I mentioned earlier, right? I mean, treat your Facebook business page as an asset. And when I say asset, right, I mean the word itself. It don't You're not going to get that overnight growth in your asset. It's an investment that you need to build organically. There are ways you can buy followers on Facebook. That's not going to go any long way. I mean, you have, so how you promote them, right? I mean, as I again said, um, create content which is more which can more relate to your patient's situation today, right? I mean, they're locked down in 2 months. Let's talk about that first, right? Let's warm them up. Let's not just say, hey, 18th, everything is opening up. Come to my clinic. We're open. Let's do all this. Yes, they will come to your clinic, but let's warm them up. And there is no easy answer to it. I mean, it is an organic growth. It's an asset. You need to invest time and you need to build it over time.
Mhm. Also, cost of paid ads like Google ads and FB ads. I'm guessing maybe they want to get an idea on the kind of investments that go in there.
What is the cost? Yeah, I have another session in the next Tuesday, which just talks about how much you should spend on marketing. We'll cover more on that then, but I'll give you a little idea. So what's the cost of Google ads and Facebook ads? So let me explain how these ads work, right? I mean, Google ads, you're paying for every click, but the impressions are free. So what I mean by that is, when or if your ad is shown on Google search page, showing of that ad is free. When people click on it, that's when you pay. And you're really it's the cost per click. So every click that you get, you're paying for that. um, the average cost of these clicks depends again on the market. If you're talking about India, and depends on the procedures too. But I mean, if you're talking about India, if you're talking about Mumbai, I mean, it's very competitive. You may end up paying, like, I mean, I think in the recent times, in general, the ad rates had dropped down. So we have seen that we could get somewhere around 20 rupees, 30 rupees, maybe 40 rupees a click, depending on the service and the area that we are targeting in Mumbai. I have another doctor who is in Lucknow. I mean, there the cost is less. It's like ₹7, ₹10. So again, I'm just giving an idea. It depends on the market. It depends on who else is trying to advertise. It's a bidding.
So how to
Facebook is
come? Yeah, please continue.
Facebook is a little different. Facebook, basically, you're paying for every impression. So whether the people click or not, they see your ad gets shown on the news feed. That's when you're paying. Um, it's a little cheaper to run ads on Facebook just because it's by impressions. So if you want to reach a lot of people and do your branding, Facebook is a great place to do that. Uh, you know, and on Google, again, Google is trying to drive that business to you. So it's really very intent based. Somebody is searching for something, they click on something, they land on your page, and you really want them to book an appointment with you, right? That's the end goal. So these are the differences. Go ahead, Shreya.
Yeah. So there's also a question on Google. That's why I wanted to add that earlier. That how do you come on top of the Google searches?
Okay, sure. So there are two things. Let's just cover the. If you search on Google, you will notice that at the top, Google is going to show you some 3 or 4 ads, and then there are some 10 links in the center. That is the organic result. That's basically the free listing of your website that Google gives you. And then at the bottom, there might be some more ads, right? So there are two aspects. I mean, number one is how to come on first position on the ad itself is also important, because as I said, remember I said before that if Google shows your ad, I mean, again, Google is not just going to show your ad just because you're paying. There are many factors involved. Google wants users to click, and they want that experience. There's something called as a quality score. So how your keywords are related with the message that you have on your ad versus when they go to your landing page, how's the experience on the landing page? That decides, which position in the ad, out of those 3-4 ads, which position you're showing up. That's on the ads. That's a little simpler to do because again, everything is under your control, and you can just, obviously, your marketing agency can basically do all of that for you, right? The second aspect, which is those 10 organic results, that's a tough one. I mean, that's something that takes time to build. Um, the way Google decides how to rank first on that, I mean, yes, the simple answer is there are many factors involved. I mean, number one is you need to have great content, unique content on your website. Don't think about keywords. I mean, I know that when you're talking to any marketing agency, they're saying, okay, we will rank you on first page, and for 5 keywords pay us so much, and for 10 keywords pay us a little bit more. It just doesn't work like that. I mean, it should not work like that. Don't think about keywords as much. Obviously, you have to do the keyword research, or your marketing agency has to do the keyword research. But the key point is write content that is natural and value addition to your patients. If your website has a content which is same information about in general that you'll find anywhere in the internet, it's not going to rank. How do you make your content unique? I had a first webinar where I had a lot of ideas on how to create unique content. I'll just go over that quickly. I mean, you could basically write Q&As. You could do your patient stories, experiences, patient testimonials, your unique approaches, how you are unique about things, or what do you do things differently, or what has your experience been with patients. All these things count. So, that's that's the short answer of how you rank on Google. It takes time. If you're just starting out and you're not ranking, it takes 3 months to 6 months to rank if you are doing everything right.
Any tips and apps for virtual consultation?
You mean to say platforms? Yeah, I mean, see, there are you could the simplest way you could do is you can just do it on WhatsApp, right? I mean, I'm just going to give you a simple thing how you can do virtual consultations. Obviously, there are problems with that because remember what I said is so you have your WhatsApp number, but how are patients going to book your time? So you definitely need some kind of a utility on your website where they can book your time, right? And that's important. Now, once they've booked the time, the actual video consultation that you want to do, you could use WhatsApp, you could use Zoom that we are in on right now. I mean, in basically we rolled out some product for our clients in early March, and that's exactly what we did. We tried to streamline the whole process of booking an appointment, virtual consultation with a doctor, where and end to end, right? Getting the link to join, etc., etc. I don't know if any apps or platforms that are there in India. Uh, I mean, I know that everyone has. There are a lot of apps actually. To be honest with you, I just don't know which ones are good. Are they integrated with your with your patient contact register? That's important, right? I mean, think about, let's say you're having a consultation with a patient and you had an ability to take notes, or you have the ability where whoever you're talking to, the card of that patient comes up, so you know details about that patient. So all these things are very important. We actually are in the process of building this end-to-end video virtual consultation platform for our clients. It will be released in about a month. But I mean, that's where my opinion is. You could use any app for video consultation; it just becomes like a video call. But when it's integrated with your back end, streamlined, that is where you will benefit.
Is it legally okay to have a website in your own name, or should it be in the name of your clinic?
I think in India, when I think there was this Medical Council of India. I'm not sure what the status of MCI is now. I know it was dissolved about 2 years ago, and they were trying to replace it with new committees. But I mean, to answer that, doctors sign some kind of a ethical agreement or something like that, and I think there's some paragraph there where they say, you cannot advertise or something like that in your name or solicit patients. Um, um, in my opinion, and I think that is all outdated. I mean, of course, a lot of people, they run their websites they have a clinic name, and that's how their websites are running today. But obviously, their name is on the website, and their information on the website. Um, I'm not very sure about the legal aspects of it, to be honest with you, but people are doing it, right? I mean, obviously, it's not. You should. My advice is that don't just have a website on your name. Do have a clinic. You're running a business after all, so it's always better to have LLC or LLP, as you have in India. To protect your liabilities. And see, you're in healthcare, right? I mean, uh, this is something that you're doing with people, and sometimes you may get into some dangerous area where you do something which is not as per the expectation of the patient, and the patient can come after you. I mean, it could happen. So you always have a LLP, I guess, and that's a good idea to have your website under that name, just to protect you from liabilities.
Instagram posts are becoming quite popular, but the question has come from Anita Agarke that she's not sure how to make it more attractive for clients. So, can you help with that?
Instagram has so Instagram is like a pictures or videos kind of a platform, right? I mean, it's basically pictures, pictorial. Um, there there are certain limitations with that platform, in terms of you cannot it's very difficult to drive traffic from Instagram to your website, because they don't allow you to have links until you have some 10,000 followers or something like that. They made some changes in their platform. So having said that, again, you got to remember that Instagram, the demographic is different, right? And that's great, right? Because a lot of the younger, if you are like in aesthetic practices, a lot of the younger crowd is going to be on Instagram. So the services that you are providing for that younger demographic, Instagram can be a great platform for that. How do you do things on Instagram? I mean, it's a social media platform again, right? So you need to connect with them. You need to. There are different ways. There are different tools on Instagram where you can have stories and you can have IGTVs, and you can have even longer videos and things like that. The only problem with Instagram is today is you cannot drive that traffic back to website. So that's the only problem. But don't. What I would suggest is, yes, you need to use Instagram, but you also need to use Facebook, and try to, as I said, remember, try to use multiple channels. If you're having any Botox and fillers kind of services, there's a lot of demographic that is on Facebook for you. That's the little older generation who needs anti-aging. They might be on Instagram now, they might be getting started, but so you have to balance it out.
And what is the typical percentage one should expect as a successful marketing in terms of call to action?
Okay. So really, it's basically not calculated as a percentage. It's calculated as your cost. So to give an example, let's say that you spend 5,000 rupees in an advertisement, and out of those 5,000 rupees, let's say you got I don't know, 10 clicks. I'm just going to make up something. Let's say you got 10 people going to your website. So that's really, you're paying like 500 rupees per click. Now, out of those 10 clicks, if 5 of them convert, and if you're making some X amount of revenues from those 5, and if you're profitable, then that's a good percentage for you, really. I think that's how I look at it. There's no set thumb rule that, hey, you need to get 5% conversion rates, 10%. Those are very high conversion rates. You will not get those unless your agency is really optimizing those campaigns and everything is just right. The targeting is right, the message is right, the service is right, the market is right. So there's so many factors. So I would say, don't focus on percentage of conversions. Focus on how many people converted and what is your profitability from that, right? And did that make sense to you? Did it give you the return on your investment? If you're losing money on marketing, do not spend on marketing. You do not spend on marketing if you're losing money, obviously, in the longer term, right? Don't think of give it like 3 months, 6 months. These are like tactics again, right? Give for 3 months, 6 months, look at it and see, are you not just recovering your marketing money back, but you're making in multiples of that. That is how you need to look at marketing.
Yes, so I think that brings us, okay, I'll take a last question. How much is waiting period to show results once the marketing starts? So once you start marketing, how long does it take to show results? Is what I
If
think.
you're running ads, it's immediate. We are running ads for our clients, and they are getting appointment bookings right away, right? It's immediate if you're running ads. If you're doing SEO, it's long term, obviously. So it depends on. That's the reason you need to have a good mix, obviously. You cannot just keep running ads and ignore SEO, because at some point you're going to run out of money to run ads. You need to build your asset, and you need to get that organic traffic
Right.
to your website.
Great. So thank you so much. Harshal, can I request you to please stop your share screen, because I want to share a screen
Oh,
before we
sure,
end
sure,
the session.
sure. I just
So
realized that.
thank you, Harshal, for joining us, and thank you all our attendees also for joining us on this session. I'm sure it's benefited you all. Harshal would be with us, I think, in the coming Tuesdays of May. So every Tuesday he's going to join us live at 6 p.m. to get something more new that could help you grow your business. But this week, our following next session, that is this coming Thursday on May 14th at 12 p.m. We have Dr. Jasleen Kaur from Amritsar joining us to speak on Treadlift for facial rejuvenation. We will share the details with all of you on your email shortly, so you all could register for that session as well. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the session too, if you all have missed any of our past webinars, if you want to go back to today's session as well, please log on to our website aestheticmed.in, and you would get access to the recorded webinars over there. Please do share your feedback with us, any new sessions, any specific topics that you all look forward to in our webinars, do let us know. To watch our videos, you all would go to our YouTube channel, which is Aesthetic Medicine India. So do not forget to subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, like our Facebook page, and stay tuned with us in our coming sessions. We have a lot more for you. So thank you once again, Harshal. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe, take care, and have a great day ahead.
Thank you so much, Shreya, and thanks everyone for
Thank,
joining in.
thank you.